shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Stop the FOMO. Do you have a fear of missing out on the LG G5 or C5 because you're so tempted to grab a great deal on last year's OLED TV? Most importantly, what you really want to know is whether the improvements to the LG G5 and C5 are worth waiting for. How much better are they? I can definitely help you answer most of those questions. Having owned the G4 for most of last year, that was one of my favorite TVs for many months as I tested it side by side against the best TVs from Samsung and Sony. And as for the G5 and C5, I spent some time with LG at CES and listened very closely to LG's emphasis on what they feel is most improved for 2025. I can now answer definitively who should be getting last year's G4 or C4 and who should wait for the G5 or C5. Hey friends, want to upgrade to Windows 11 Pro but can't afford the official price of $199? How about $21 or Windows 10 for $16 with my discount code SF20? Thanks to our sponsor, Whokeys. Yes, Black Friday is here. Get an additional 30% off with my code SF20. Go to Whokeys.com, add Windows 11 Pro to your cart, apply my discount code SF20, and bam, only $21. Here's how we activate it. Go to your Whokeys account at the top right under User Center, click on My Purchased Orders, click on View Keys and Code, click Get the Key, copy the Windows 11 Pro key under Code Card, then go to your system settings, scroll down and click Activation, click Change Product Key, paste the key code, click Next, and you're done. So don't miss out on these amazing deals. Click on my links in the video description below. Let's get the easy one out of the way first. Get the LG C4, last year's very excellent TV, or wait for the LG C5. Why is this easy? Because the picture quality improvements, minor at best, if noticeable at all. So the picture quality should be very similar. No new gaming features. You know what's different? AI. On the C5, it's AI driven, meaning you could use natural language to tell the TV what you want. It's limited. It's not like, hey, calibrate my TV. That'd be nice. But instead, it's more like, I can't hear the dialogue. Can you help me out? And either it will directly change the TV settings or give you suggestions what you can do. And additionally, the C5 has the upgraded remote. You may or may not like the improvement, but it's the newer remote. Many people have wanted that. And more importantly, the C5 is more expensive. So that's very important, right? Given these minor changes, I personally would go with the C4. Most people getting the LG C4 will be thrilled. The improvements on the C5 is more quality of life related to AI and a slightly newer remote with maybe more conveniences. Here's one thing they made a complaint of. Last year's C4 remote has an input button. You could directly change your input. This year's C5, the input button's missing. You'll have to hard press the home button, I think. Hold it down and then the input selection pops up. A little inconvenient, not intuitive, but hey, if you like that, that's what you're going to get. I think most people should get the C4 actually. The C5 and the AI improvements, honestly, we're still in the early stages of AI anyway. If you really want to see AI power, I say wait a few years for that. The harder question is the LG G4, a really good TV, or the LG G5, slightly better. But how? So let's talk about the update from the G4 to the G5. Specifically, you're going from MLA, last year's MLA, to this year's non-MLA, 4-stack OLED, 4-layer cake. LG has not given it a name. The name they've given it officially is this. The G4 is known as Brightness Booster Max. The G5 is known as Brightness Booster Ultimate. So you're going from Max to Ultimate. I don't know, which sounds better to you? Max sounds pretty good. The LG G2, G3, and G4 were all called Brightness Booster Max, but this year they call it Ultimate. So clearly something's changed. Apparently what's changed is they got rid of the MLA on the G3 and G4, right? MLA, the micro lens array, was introduced on the G3 and G4, and then this year they got rid of it, so they called it the Brightness Booster Ultimate, because instead of having MLA, it got brighter with additional layers of OLED. But forget all of that. What does this really mean, right? getting these additional OLED stacks, is it really performing better? So in theory, now until we get the TVs into our studio, in theory, it's supposed to get you brighter color luminance, better color saturation, because that was the weakness. When I say weakness at a shootout, where you are comparing the best TVs against a reference monitor, and the best TVs include a QD OLED that can push color luminances higher than what WOLED can do. In this case, the G4, WOLED has limitations, right? White color filter, all of that. We won't get into the technicalities, but this is what you need to know. That last 5% of performance that wins or loses a shootout, you're not going to notice, honestly. If you're watching Netflix, YouTube, sports, you're not going to notice that additional color saturation unless you have a TV side by side. It's not like you went from orange to red. Wait, the sun isn't yellow, it's white. Clearly, there's something amiss. It's close enough that if you go from MLA to additional color saturation, it's very minor. And why do I say that? Because I have the G4 next to a QD OLED, and the QD OLED has even higher color luminances, and they were very similar more often than not. Because in my opinion, even if the G5 is slightly better than the G4, it's arguable whether the G5 can still match QD OLED. And it may match QD OLED, but I am pretty certain it will not exceed QD OLED's color luminance because it still has the limitation of that white OLED with color filter. Better than the G4? Probably. Better than a QD OLED? No. And last year, even next to a QD OLED, the G4 looked very similar. I had to push it with very bright content from Jennifer Gala, specific scenes from certain movies to really get the G4 to fall short of the S95D. And as a TV reviewer, that's important to me, right? I need that benchmark TV performer. But that's for those who know what that benchmark is. I know what TV, movies, shows, streaming to use, right? It takes me a long time to curate that content. Aha, in this scene, the S95D or QD OLED does slightly better than G4. That's my job. That's not your job. Your job is to enjoy a TV. And with that in mind, the G4 is such an amazing TV for most people. And if you're a gamer, a PC gamer, and you need that 165 hertz, I get it. So that's another thing we'll get to then. If you're not in the 5% of enthusiasts who need that last 1, 2, or 3% of scenes that no one will ever see, and you want that extra color saturation at highest luminances, sure, get the G5. Everyone else, save the money, get the G4. And we're talking just image quality, but talking about gaming. So 144 hertz maximum, 165 hertz. But if you're a console gamer, neither is relevant. You're capped at 120 hertz anyway. PC gamer, if this 165 hertz is important to you, got it. Now, of course, the G5 is similar to the C5, AI features, new remote, right? But there's one thing you have to consider, that the G5 potentially will have a drawback that's not in the G4. Potentially. Actually, there are two potential drawbacks. The MLA that was on the G4 and not on the G5, it helped improve some of that color tinting issue. We're talking about the last 3% of enthusiasts. This helped reduce color tinting, color shifts off angle, right? Some people noticed that there was less of that magenta tint on the G5, and they gave credit to the MLA for reducing that. Well, the G4, right? The G4 with MLA saw better DSE, better improved color uniformity, right? The G5 will not have MLA. Now, did they address it elsewhere in the stack? Maybe, we don't know. So this is a mystery. This is a certainty. The MLA helped it. Here, there's no MLA. So who knows, right? And most important part, and this is one I think is even more relevant as a drawback, potentially, the G4 is a proven commodity, meaning by now, enough people have had it. We know all the weaknesses, all the flaws, and all the strengths. This G4 is a phenomenally bright TV for sports. It matches any of my mini LED TVs. For gaming, it works great, right? Everything here is solid. Not perfect, but solid. G5 is an unproven technology. This is a first generation 4-stack, 4-layer OLED. We don't know how it's going to perform in long term. We don't know the weaknesses. And the reason I say that this is an unknown quantity is this. First generation of MLA, the G3, had some rough spots. Then the G4, right, the next generation, evened it out much better. Improved processing, matched the brightness to what the MLA was capable of, just more polished in the second generation of MLA. So here we are again with the first generation all new 4-stack. We're guinea pigs. Definitely G6 will be slightly better because now they would have learned all the mistakes on the G5 and make the G6 that much better because now you have 2 years under your belt to develop this new stack. So I think this may end up being, to me, more of a deal breaker for getting the G5 if they perform close enough, meaning the G5 is somewhere between the best QD OLED and slightly better than the G4. I don't think this price premium is worth the risk of just having to figure out, oh, this 4-stack has this weakness, this flaw, I didn't know, whatever that is. Known quantity, better the devil you know than the one you don't. So for most people, right, let's leave enthusiasts out of it for now. Most people, you look at this video, oh, I heard all these great things about the G5. Those are great things, but don't forget, the G4 was also very great. For you who really don't know the difference between a 4-stack OLED and MLA, get the G4. Play it safe, great TV, save your money. Now, for enthusiasts who are looking for the best of the best OLED, well, my question to you is, well, why aren't you also considering the Samsung S95F? Yes, I know, anti-glare. You don't like it, but keep in mind that Samsung specifically fixed the anti-glare to reduce the matteness of that coating to a certain degree to offset some of the weaknesses of last year's anti-glare coating. It's less aggressive. The blacks are deeper. Right? I saw it myself side by side next to the S95D. The S95F definitely has improved contrast in a bright room. Now, whether this matches the G5s in a bright room, remains to be seen. We'll have them side by side in 2 months, so stick around, right? You're not buying the TV now anyway. We're going to have a lot of fun doing head-to-head between the Samsung S95D and the G5, probably in about 2 months when they release. Until next time, stop the FOMO.